Ladies and gentlemen, our dear students, wherever you are, I hope you are fine and I hope you are doing well. I would like to welcome you to this biology lesson for Senior 1 students. I want to thank you. I'm hearing that you are observing the national guidelines to prevent COVID-19. That is good. So, today we are going to look at something very interesting, and I want us to introduce chapter 2 in our Senior 1 biology work, and I want us to start with this imagination. I don't know whether you have ever wondered what organisms are made up of. I know you know what an organism is. These are living things. If you look at it very well, or you can look at your friend at home, or your brother or sister at home, look at them and see what are they made up of. What are these people? What constitutes to their bodies? What builds up the body of an organism? Look at the chicken moving at home. Look at the goats. Look at the plants, the trees. Have you ever wondered, as a scientist, what are these organisms made up of? You can also imagine if a house was carefully dismantled. If you removed the house, you remove parts one by one, the iron sheets, the wall, and so on. You dismantle it. What would you see piled as the smallest components that were joined to construct that house? What are those things that were joined together to construct a house? So you may notice that they were either bricks or blocks that were joined several times over a period of time and in different ways and forms to form a house. So a house has building blocks. It has bricks. 1 brick, 2 bricks, 3, and so on. They are added together to form a house. So if it is like that, so likewise, organisms are also made up of tiny blocks that are called cells. So ladies and gentlemen, today we are looking at cell biology. How lucky you are to be looking at this very wonderful topic, the cell biology. And you can see the beautiful cells there of organisms. They are building blocks for living organisms. So these cells are organized at different levels to perform specific functions. And the knowledge that you will acquire from this study of cells and organization will enable you to explain how organisms interact with their environment in order to sustain life. So the knowledge you're going to acquire from these lessons about cells are going to enable you to understand really how organisms function and how their bodies can be used to interact with the environment. So this same knowledge also has enabled the scientists to make important medical and agricultural advances in science. So you have probably seen a lot of research happening. For example, currently in agriculture, we have crops that yield highly. You have seen mangoes with very big fruits, oranges with very big fruits. It means they have been grafted. A lot of research has happened to modify those plants to make them yield bigger fruits and so on. So the same knowledge can be used even in animals. And you are very lucky to be studying this topic, because in future you can decide to apply this knowledge to modify a lot of things in the environment. So cells, however, are too small. They are very tiny, and you cannot see them using your eyes. So members, what do you use in case you want to see the cells? They are so small and you cannot see them using your eye. But there are machines that we can use. And the machine that is used to see cells or to view small objects is called a microscope. It's called what? A microscope. So you can see Okello there trying to view the microscope, seeing cells from the microscope. So a light microscope is majorly the one that we use at our level in Senior 1. We use a light microscope, And this is an instrument that is used to observe things that are too small to be seen by unaided eye. Yes, these things which you cannot see using your eyes, you use a microscope. So similarly, the cells that we are studying now, you can study them using a microscope. It makes them appear bigger and larger and much more clearer for you to study. Yes. So at least from here we know that the cells are very small, and for us to study them we need a microscope. Great. So I want us to start with the one type of cell that is called animal cell. Yeah, animal cell. And I want to give you an activity here to do. At home you can do this one. I want you to get a raw egg. You can ask your dad or mom to buy for you an egg. Of course, after studying, you can eat it. You can boil, you can fry it, and boil, you can eat. Get an egg. These days, eggs are easy. You can easily get one at least. Raw egg, and then put it in the dish, in a clean dish. But even before, you first wash the egg very well to make it clean. Then put it in a clean dish. And then you can break it and then identify the different layers that are found in that egg. After breaking it, you can count the layers that you are able to see clearly from the egg. You make sure you break it carefully without really damaging the inner layers much. So you can look at the layers. From this diagram you have seen there, from that picture, you have seen the egg there, but those are parts of the egg. There are very many parts, but I'm focusing on majorly the layers. How many layers are you able to see there? The major parts. So when you observe it, you can be able to see some layers from that egg. Please do that. I would want to you do it. You take a picture of what you are doing, and then you send it to me. I want to see how you are studying biology at home using an egg. So you can also look at the relative position of the layers you have seen. Which layer is found at the edge? Which one is found in the middle? Which one is found inside? So I'm interested in for you seeing those layers and where they are located. Look at them where they are located, and then you can note whatever you are seeing. You can write it down. How many layers have you seen? You write it down. How are they arranged? Where are they located? You can also write it down in your notebook, because you may use this information later on as you continue. So please do that and send me a picture of what you have done. Okay, and then part 2, you're also going to observe a prepared slide of an animal cell. If you are at school, you would ask the teacher to help you to view the cell under the microscope. But now that you are at home, I have already viewed for you, and I have taken a picture, and the picture is there. So the animal cell looks like that one you have seen. So in that picture there, you are seeing those boxes there. They are like boxes. Those are animal cells. There are many. I can see at least 3 clear animal cells there. You can look at one of them and try to look at it properly. There is a part which is red, which is pink in color. Then there are other parts around it. That is an animal cell. You can take a look at that picture for some time to observe, to appreciate the parts which you are able to see clearly. Count the layers that you are able to see there, and then you can even draw one of them, and then I want to see your drawing. And then now, after looking at the egg, you have seen how the egg looks like, the number of layers that are found there, the location of those egg layers, and then you have also looked at the animal cell that I have already taken a picture, which is there. So now we are interested in you. Can you compare the two? Can you compare the egg, the layers in the egg, or the structure of the egg with the animal cell? That is what I am interested in. So now you're going to compare the observation of the prepared slide of the animal cell and then the structure of the raw egg that you have studied. You're going to compare the two. Comparing means you are going to give similarities and differences. You're going to give similarities and what? And differences. And there is a table here that you're going to fill the answers. For example, you have the raw egg and the animal cell. The number of layers. How many layers have you seen in the raw egg? How many layers in the animal cell? Then the size of layers in the raw egg and then in the animal cell. Compare the sizes of those layers. Then even the location, the position of those layers. Please fill that table there, complete it, and then you send me your responses. I want to give you 1 minute to look through those pictures, and then you'll be able to comment. For the egg, you're going to do it at home, and then for the animal cell, you're going to look at that picture, and then you are able to compare the two. You can also check in the internet the structure of the animal cell, or check the structure of the chicken egg, and then you can compare the two. Yes. So thank you so much. We can proceed. You do that assignment. That is assignment number 2. So let's proceed now. Having looked at now those structures, now we should proceed to name the parts now. So the parts of the animal cell. Remember, an egg also comes from an animal. This egg from the chicken is an animal. So the egg is also an animal cell. Yeah, but it's a very big one. For it, you can see, even without using a microscope. It is a very big cell. It is the biggest animal cell, the egg cell. Yeah, so we are comparing those two different animal cells and want to see whether they have the same structures. Yeah. So when you look at the parts of the animal cell, you realize that the central part of the animal cell is called the nucleus. That middle part, which is in the center, which is usually thick, is called the nucleus. Then the fluid part of which is surrounding the nucleus is called the cytoplasm. That part which is surrounding the nucleus there, that large part, that fluid part is called the cytoplasm. And then the outer boundary surrounding the cytoplasm is called the cell membrane. So there are 3 major parts of the animal cell at our level. However, there are many other parts, but the major ones I'm telling you are 3. There is a nucleus, which is found at the center, and then we have the cytoplasm, which is surrounding the nucleus, and usually in the cytoplasm there are many other parts which are there that we shall see later on. Yeah, and then we also have the cell membrane, which is surrounding the cytoplasm. So members, how many parts? What are the names of the parts of the animal cell? The first one is the nucleus. Then we have cytoplasm. Then we have cell membrane. Nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. I want you to master those parts well and know where they are located. So after knowing them, after looking at those cells, I have shown you the picture. I've also shown you the egg cell. I want you to draw them. Draw them in your book, and then name. Locate those parts. Draw and locate those parts. And I have given you a sample here, but I want you to make your own drawing as well. So in this picture, you can be able to see there are two, figure 1 and figure 2. In figure 1, that is what we call the cheek cell. When you peel some bit of skin inside your mouth, you know that skin inside the mouth is soft. If you peel it and then you put it in a microscope, you can be able to see those cells that we are projecting there. And when you narrow on one particular cell, that is how it looks like. You can be able to see the nucleus, which is black in color, which is dark colored, which is in the center. You have the cytoplasm, the rest of that part there. Then we have the cell membrane, which is surrounding. And then, of course, in the cytoplasm, there are other parts like mitochondrion. Yes, so, but the major parts there are nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane. Then in figure 2, we also have the picture of the animal cell there. And are you able to identify the parts now? That middle part is the nucleus. And of course, inside the nucleus is where we have the nucleolus and the nucleoplasm. But that part there is the nucleus, is what I want you to focus majorly on. Then we have the cytoplasm surrounding the nucleus, and then we have the cell membrane, that envelope which is covering the cell. Okay, so I now know that you at least know the three parts of the animal cell. Altogether, what are those parts? I hope you are able to name them. You can even tell your friend now the parts of the animal cell. Tell them that there is a nucleus, and of course now you know where it is located. Tell them that there is cytoplasm, and tell them there is a cell membrane. And then I want you to make a drawing and represent those parts. I also want you to make a drawing of the other cells I told you, and then put those parts clearly. I want to see them in your drawing. Your drawing should be on pencil and very neat. Yeah. So let's look at the functions of those three major parts. We said that the outer part is called the cell membrane. Do you know what the cell membrane does? Do you know why it is there? Well, this is a thin and outer layer surrounding the contents of the cell. It allows some substances to go in and some substances to come out of the cell. So this outer envelope of the cell is allowing some substances to go. You remember the cell carries out different activities, and some of those activities require nutrients, raw materials. It requires raw materials, respiratory gases like oxygen, some like glucose for formation of energy. Those materials there have to enter into the cell. Now, where do they pass? They have to pass through the cell membrane. At the same time, after the cell has performed its functions, there are some waste products which may be dangerous to the cell. They have to come out of the cell, and they have to pass through the cell membrane still. So in summary, the cell membrane allows materials to go into the cell, and also allows some materials to come out of the cell. So we can say that it is selectively permeable. We shall look at that much more later on. Then we also have the cytoplasm, that fluid part of the cell, which is actually covering most of the part of the cell, is the cytoplasm. And that part is fluid. It's mucus-like liquid in the cell. That is where some of the life processes take place. You know, some of the life processes we talked about, they take place inside the cytoplasm. Yes, yeah, the reactions within the cell take place inside the what? The cytoplasm. That is the function of the cytoplasm. Then we have the nucleus. And the nucleus, we can say it is the brain of the cell. It is the brain of the cell because it controls all chemical activities that take place in the cell. This is because of the presence of the genes that carry out instructions and information on how the activity should occur. So inside the nucleus, there is what we call the DNA and the genes, and those ones act like the brain of the cell. They determine which activities must take place in that cell. So they manage the cell. It's like the administration block of the cell. It is where all activities are managed from. So I know you are very much confident now that you know the three parts of the cell and what each one of them performs. You can even tell that to your dad, tell it to your mom, tell it to your friends, share it with them. Ask them if they know the cytoplasm. Do they know the cell membrane? Do they know the nucleus? Discuss with them and they familiarize with this information. That is great. So I want to thank you so much for being very good students and for attending this lesson. I want you to write a short story about the cell. Write a short story about the animal cell, particularly. Write a short story over half a page about the animal cell. Then you send me the picture. I want to read your story. And the best story, I will share it with the friends so that they also see how to write better stories. Thank you so much. I hope you are staying at home. Please continue staying at home. Very soon we shall return back to school. Thank you.